When the Candyman shows up and he wants you to kill him, you know you're listening to Feature Please, Vile This Debate. My name is Joseph.
Well, you know when there's Klingons dying and it's Worf on the other side of the batleth, you're on Deep Space Nine. I'm your co-host, Peter.
Well, not a batleth, a mechlith.
There's a batleth that most people are usually using, and he is on the other side of the batleth.
That's true.
Sometimes he's using whatever the mechlet is. Sometimes you're just getting dangled over a bridge. He's a very versatile murderer, you see.
Speaking of being a versatile murderer, can I tell you about trying to finish Baldur's Gate 3 real quick? Because you talk.
How old are you, Joe?
I'm 42.
And you're talking about finishing a game that is notoriously long and complicated and excellent. I can't wait to hear this because I think about the time I put into Neverwinter Nights, which I think was college-ish for me. And that was like summer breaks, which as an adult, especially now that I have kids enjoying their summer breaks, just the deep level of jealousy I have for that amount of free time during a summer or any period. I didn't get to be off for COVID. COVID was some of the hardest I've ever worked and the most I've ever worked. Seeing the entire world get a fucking summer break to just play up all their games made me very jealous. But here you are working full time and trying to play Baldur's Gate 3 while being married. How's that going for you?
And doing this podcast too. Like it's a time sink. I'm 75 hours into this playthrough when I last saved. The best thing I can say about Baldur's Gate 3 is that at 42 years of age and 75 hours later, I'm still turning it back on and trying to get it done. Like, there are so many good games, great games, that I have played 20 to 30 hours of and then kind of gave up on because I could not bring myself to grind out the next 10 to 15 to 20 hours that would be necessary to finish. Ghost of Tsushima, I think I tapped out midway through Act 2 as one too many farms needed to be saved. I'm sorry. Combat becomes trivial at a certain point once you have a certain amount of power-ups, and it's it loses your engagement, and I didn't finish. Great game, great visuals, loved it, but couldn't finish. Final Fantasy VII Remake, still undone because it's too grindy.
I'm there with you. Yep.
I beat the Hell House, I got through Wall Market, and then I'm in the sewers. I beat the sewer boss, and it never ends. Everything. The combat in that game was
either insultingly simple and unsatisfying, or just bonkers Japanese.
Yes, no in between.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yakuza 0, another game that I got 2/3 of the way through and I really liked, and then it just kind of again reaches the point where it becomes so much of a grind because you've done everything and you're now overpowering the environment enough that you don't care, that you can't bring yourself to finish. Baldur's Gate, much more engaging. Difficulty curve is much better. It's stayed relatively challenging until literally now, right? I'm max level. I have a bunch of the best equipment. Now, I understand the systems and the synergies. I have my characters that I take that is my core 4 of, people I roll with that are spec'd exactly the way that I want them. And nothing is necessarily challenging me anymore. And the story is detailed enough that I really want to get to the end. But it's I have another 10 hours that I know I have to do. I have to I just beat Gortash. I have to go get Orin's Netherstone. And then I have to do all the end game stuff. And I know I'm in for another easy 2 or 3 days of sitting down and having to invest my time into playing this game before I've actually beaten it. And I'm okay, I'm going to finish it. I'm going to fucking finish. I'm too close not to, right? I've reached that point. And all I can think of while I'm doing this is how the fuck do people invest the time to play this game over and over and over again? Because I see the YouTube videos, I see the people who have mastered every piece of this, and I'm I will be happy if I finish this once. And you guys are talking about how you do your honor runs over and over again because you want to have the best time or something like that, or clear the most content, or break the game in the most novel ways. Do you have anything else you do in your life? I don't understand.
Oh, listen, man, finish the game and then see how you feel about it a couple weeks later. 'Cause sometimes just the hankering comes back, and you've hit a point where it's difficult for me. I hit that point with Witcher where once, and Batman, the Arkham games. Like once you start having the ability to mechanically progress forward in some sort of a build, the video game loses a very attractive component. Like I'm putting work in, the plot's great, I'm really enjoying the dialogue, but I'm not mechanically progressing forward. I'm not being rewarded for what I'm doing because I'm at max experience or I have everything purchased and unlocked. And
Right.
Part of it feels like a wasted effort. And that's got to be hard from a game design standpoint of like, how do we put enough content in that there's a lot for people to do in experience? How do we put enough experience in this thing that people don't have to 100% the game to go into the end content at max level? And you know, I'm a guy that does all the side content before finishing the main stuff. And
Same.
a game like Baldur's Gate or Batman, and especially Witcher, like I went into, I think, Blood and Wine, which was the huge expansion. And I was like, man, I'm already maxed out. The story's great, but like, I don't feel motivated to push forward on this. And I never really touched it. Maybe I'll go back to Witcher 3 at some point and just play only Blood and Wine. But that's a very real point. And I think sounds to me like what you're hitting.
The credit to the game is that it's ingeniously designed such that it curves its difficulty along with. I've never felt like it wasn't trying to test me. I'm just playing on normal difficulty too. I'm not playing on tactician or honor mode. There's more difficult ways to play the game, and I'm sure there are because it's D&D nerds. You can min max like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
But as somebody who's been approaching it in a more casual way, like the normal difficulty has been really spot on with it's testing me, but it's not frustrating me. And it's constantly making me think about it. Maybe I have to do an encounter once or twice. Like when I fought Raphael, it took me 2 tries to figure out how to do it. You know, some of the dragon encounter took me 3. Like I like that. It's just enough to keep you challenged, but not so much that you feel like it's not a Dark Souls game, which I don't like that. Games either need to master that curve if you're going to ask someone to engage for 60 to 80 hours, or you need a 20-hour game, which is what Space Marine 2 was, which was another game I actually finished, right? Well, it's because it's a very straightforward progression game where you're not overstaying your welcome, and you're because you're keeping it tighter, you're able to maintain that curve all the way through, have a payoff at the end. And hey, if you want to grind missions endlessly online and like engage and do that option is there. But I felt very satisfied for my $50 getting 20 hours of solid, you know, Space Marine related run and gun content out of it, right? I needed nothing else. So credit to the Baldur's Gate that it's managed to keep me playing 75 hours in, but it has reached a point where it's like my raw attention span is tested.
Thug it out.
And I need to play Expedition 33, which is like I'm like going through all the games of the year I haven't finished. And the only way I'm going to do that is if I actually beat this thing.
Did you beat Voyager?
No, I never actually finished a playthrough.
What are you doing over here with Baldur's Gate if you didn't even fucking finish Voyager?
Okay, so I have a very specific gaming issue, and that is games come in 2 flavors for me. Either they are the kind of game that I play when I'm focusing on it, or the kind of game that I can play while I'm editing the podcast. And I thought Voyager would be a game that I could play while I was editing the podcast, but the problem is that the micro decisions require so much attention that I found I wasn't editing the podcast particularly well while I was trying to play the Voyager game. And so I put it down because I'm like, okay, if it's going to be dedicated gaming time, it has to go into the queue.
Mm-hmm.
So like, again, that goes behind Expedition 33 because I haven't finished Baldur's Gate 3 yet.
You have a Star Trek podcast. You are obligated.
I know.
Is this you being petty and not playing that Voyager Across the Unknown because they wouldn't do an interview with us?
Yeah, maybe. That's it.
They just put the Delta Flyer content in, so I would say that'll be a good, you know, reason for you to go back in there.
Yeah, and I played it through enough where I was just trying to figure out the systems, and I said I wanted to restart and play it on honor mode, basically, because I feel like that's the way to do it. If you're really going to test yourself, is like, can I get them home without having to save scum? I feel like that's the way.
Save scumming that was very difficult. I don't know if they changed it, made it easier. I don't have a good pivot into this episode.
Neither do I. So let's just do it.
That's probably why we just talked about video games for 10 minutes.
What's the episode we watched this week, Peter?
Season 4, episode 15, Sons of Mogh. First aired February 12th, 1996. Written by Ronald D. Moore, directed by David Livingston. Again, written by Ronald D. Moore. There's no teleplay here.
Yep, did the whole thing.
We've talked very heavy in Way of the Warrior about Kling-rons. This is absolutely Kling-ron content. I don't think there's anything bad about this episode, but this episode did not really capture my favor. I think this was some TNG Klingons for me.
Well, let me give you my take. I mean, I was interested in how you'd feel about this one. You are getting a reputation for being a Deep Space Nine hater because everyone thought you loved season 4, and you seem to find all the little ways to not like it. Which, again, I think that's people don't understand. You know that's it's part of your charm. But this is everything good and bad about Ron Moore in one episode. It's like the ultimate Ron Moore experience. This is a very deep, character-driven episode that delivers on the innermost motivations of the characters that it focuses on, particularly Worf. To me, I got a lot out of watching it this time because we just recently actually watched those TNG episodes that featured Worf having to make basically first contact with his family through Kurn and work his way through Klingon politics and all that. We talked a lot about that because it, segued right into Way of the Warrior. And if you were somebody who was just watching Deep Space Nine, you watched this, so it probably didn't connect as much because that was like, oh, who's this guy from like mid-season TNG episodes I haven't seen in years? But we've seen him recently. And it made the drama of the episode feel so much more urgent and present in a way that I really enjoyed. And it was really all about Worf continuing the story about what he actually is and who he wants to be. And you've got a look on your face. You got something to say.
I just came up with the fucking title, man. I was...
Oh, what is it?
Because you're going through and I'm listening and I'm like, what didn't I like about this episode? And like, I'm sure I got shit for not caring about the sad Odo episode, right?
Yeah. Well, you will, and it's not out yet.
It was too much sad Odo. It should have been a B plot, or there should have been a substantial B plot that was more the politics of that episode, where Odo's watching Kira fuck her stepbrother or whatever the fuck
her old boss.
This one, it's another one that it's Kurn is a sad boy and Worf is a sad boy. And there's kind of the minefield episode, the thing in the background, right? Which is really the exact same setup. Like, here is something political in the background. It is not in clear focus. It's in a better focus here, but it's not. I don't think the minefield is as interesting as the Bajoran application of the Federation. But it's sad boy Worf. It's sad boy Kurn. And I'm like, man, fuck, like, what's the titles of this? The Sons of Moopy Mogh. Like, how do I sad boy up Mogh? And then you're talking to me. I'm like, they're the sons. I'm Worf, son of Emo.
Sons of Emo.
Emo all the way. These are Emo forever forward. We got Kling-rons, Sons of Emo.
And I liked that. Just like I liked Sad Odo, I like introspective Worf. I think that Kurn representing like I am the consequences of your actions as they were wrought on everyone else, you motherfucker, is actually very cool.
Here's the important part, and this is something I didn't dislike this episode to the degree I disliked Sad Odo, because Sad Odo boils down to I like a girl and she doesn't see me, versus your I'm air quoting here, your selfish actions have had catastrophic impacts on our house. And that's a really neat perspective to have, because to us, Worf is a Star Trek The Next Generation Starfleet main character, right?
Right.
But as we've discussed here, he is a big there is a Titanic iceberg. We see him on the Enterprise, but there's a lot more to this House of Mogh and everything else. So as he's making these like Starfleet decisions, and it is just having wild impacts on a lot of people we will never see. And I think maybe that's something that's missing here, is at some point he should have went back to a Klingon planet or colony where the House of Mogh is, and you'd be like, okay, cool.
You keep saying House of Mogh. It's House of Mogh.
Mogh, yes.
There you go.
Mogh. That's my
Mogh.
It's just Mogh, House of Mogh. But I need to see the estate. I would like to see the estate. I'd like to see the groundskeepers and all the other people have been into it. And that's a weird part of this too, is like the House of Mogh has been, or is there like a clan or anything else that's ever really referred to?
I mean, the house system within the Klingon Empire is very feudalistic. It's hard to know exactly what it constitutes because apparently, it existed prior to all of the episodes that threw it into disrepute. Worf just wasn't there, right? He was an absent prince in many ways. He was raised by Starfleet. He didn't interact with Starfleet culture. There was nothing really said. I think the implication here is the House of Mogh did have a presence, and it was then obliterated as a consequence of discommendation, right, and then restored as a consequence of the Civil War, right? So, we've never actually seen what that looks like, and which is a shame. We know it's real. We know it's significant. There's some great dialogue in this episode where Kurn even says, like, we were powerful enough that one of us might have been the next chancellor, which is saying a lot, right? And then that is all gone. We never really saw what it was, but they convey it with enough weight that I feel like they've accomplished their mission for the plot. But I haven't even finished where I wanted to go with this thing about Ron Moore. Great stuff when it comes to the character building. Great stuff when it comes to the kind of like the plot as it relates to them interacting with each other. Great use of Dax, obviously, in this. And then we get to the end and he has like an ending in mind and he doesn't know how to fucking do it. And so he just does it and it makes no fucking sense. And that's also the Ron Moore experience.
Like a thumbprint.
The last 10% of this episode is pure Ron Moore making shit up at the end to make the plot go where you want to go.
That's called a Ron Rod.
It's a Ron Rod. And that Battlestar Galactica, quite famously, as we have discussed when we've talked about it, when we did that review of Razor, filled with circumstances where the Ron Rod ruined what he was doing. And most of this memory alpha is quotes from him at different times, either in the Deep Space Nine magazine or being quoted in different Star Trek related publications, or talking online or talking at conventions about how, the last part of this episode, maybe there should have been a scene that actually made sense, where like you don't just roll into Bashir's crib and is like, can you just turn his memories off and make him into a new person? Like, yeah, buddy, maybe there should have been. Maybe you needed a continuity scene, a continuity movie to include there.
I didn't even, we'll get into that, and that's a new discussion. I didn't put enough, I guess, thought into the episode, but Julian Bashir, who refused to go any further in Vedic Bareil because it was inhuman what he was doing, and turning him into a machine and erasing who he was as a person.
Which is exactly what everyone brings up to him about this episode when they fucking talk to him about it. Is like, how does it make sense for people? No context. It's just one scene. Here's Kurn. He's passed out. What do you want me to do? Erase his memories and turn him into a new person? Apparently that conversation's already fucking happened.
I need the conversation between Kira and Nerys and Bashir. Like, so what? You wouldn't save my boyfriend because it was erasing too much of his personality, and you just Men in Blacked Worf's brother? You just neuralized him like that?
It's because he wanted an ending where, Kurn's not dead, but is
he's
dead
set up for some deep agent Manchurian candidate thing that's going to happen later, I'm sure. So back to the feudalism portion of this. I think it's fair to assume that the House of Mogh was a established power prior to, was it the Khitomer massacre?
Correct, yes. And that would have been when it was strong, right? Like his father was alive. He probably had other siblings.
Again, this is like TNG, early TNG, we don't really have this thing super fleshed out. Like, at what point does it become the House of Worf? Was Mogh a deeper, my great-great-great-great-grandfather established the house, I'm Mogh the Third. But so Mogh was there. It was great. Kittimer Massacre happens. This Klingon nobility prince, Worf, somehow ends up back on Earth, and they don't go to war over it, whatever. Like, again, TNG plot, setup, whatever. He was never maybe meant to be this important as a potential prince or whatever. The house is kind of just milling along. And then the episodes happen in TNG where the Romulan scout ship gets captured. They find out the Kittimer Massacre was an inside job. Duras is guilty of that. Duras pivots for Kim Peck and the council to say that Mogh, Worf's father, was the inside man. And that's where the House of Mogh falls, right? But prior to that, like, it's still going, okay, and Kurn, for whatever reason, which I guess really now it doesn't make sense. Like, why would Kurn's true identity have been hidden as a child of Mogh?
Well, so at the time that the massacre occurred, he was so young that he wasn't there. He was on Kronos. You're right. There is a bit of a plot hole there because it wasn't until their adulthood that the name was thrown into disrepute. So he should have been known as the son of Mogh that survives and is probably the
heir.
Well, Worf survived too, and they knew Worf survived, right?
Yeah, but he's on Earth. I mean, I'd say that's a good reason for the younger brother to become the heir. Is like, this guy is just fucking.
Yeah, and remember there was like when we watched Sword of Kalis and Worf says he like spent time on Kronos with some of his more distant relatives, and like there is a failure to connect there. But you can at a certain point,
I'm happy to hand wave it.
Yeah, we can hand wave that because like you're kind of coming up with the shit as you go along. You're not thinking about it in the way that you're thinking about it now, and you kind of have to deal with the decisions you've already made. We won't judge them.
I watched Voyager. I watched Enterprise. I have leapt over plot holes far bigger than this one.
And maybe it's a like the family friend that raised Kurn knew on some level this feels like a setup. They're going to come for this kid if they know who he is, so I'm going to hide who he is.
These Duras can't be trusted. Yeah. And
like I feel like the Duras are involved for some reason because everyone knows they're fucking shifty. This feels like, you know, like when it was essentially an assassination, so I'm going to hide him. You know, okay, that works. You don't. We can get there, right?
So through the discommendation, which lasted, what, 2 years?
No, not even like a year and a half. Because like it was a season 3 thing. It was resolved by the end of season 4.
So I would say the discombination dark period would not have been enough to completely shake that feudal structure apart. Like they could just been, fuck, now we're all outcasts. We're going to keep living here in whatever this estate is. It was a
conservatorship. Could have been controlled by the chancellor. Who knows?
And then Worf helps Duras ascend to power. Now Kurn gets to go on the council.
Not Duras, he helped Gowron.
Now the House of Mogh is thriving. Maybe new people are coming in. And then Worf makes the decision to not support the war with Cardassia. Gowron goes, fuck you. I'm gutting everything. And now all the people that have onboarded, all the people that were there through the Duras conspiracy, everybody's like, fuck, we were just on the upswing. Things were looking great. This war is going on that maybe we don't feel great about, but we're still Klingons and we still love war. And certainly, you know, fucking up Cardassians feels good. And now this guy, again, who is completely absent from our lives over on Deep Sheetz 9, has made a new decision. And now the lands are stripped. I'm kicked off the council. We are all dishonored once again. Like, that's a lot of ups and downs for these guys. Like, Worf really is bringing people
because you're
through
talking
the
about like
ringer.
A circumstance where there's like they're like samurai, right? Like they're sworn to the house, right? They're not necessarily blood relations, but they're the captains or whoever it is that constitute their ships and their lesser nobility, because we know that the House of Mogh is supposed to be descended directly from like imperial royalty, which is why they were prominent to begin with. And yeah, to like swear fealty to the house. And the titular head of that house is actually a Starfleet officer and never around. And it's his younger brother who's on the council and really managing things. And to get everyone's turbo fucked because that guy decided that he wasn't going to play ball. He's not even there. He's not experiencing any of the consequences of those actions because he's too busy pressing the torpedo button for a different organization. Yeah, that would probably make everyone pretty raw, right? Like that would make you a lot of enemies.
There's gonna be a lot I told you so. Honey, I told you not to swear allegiance to their house. Their limp wristed family head is wearing this Starfleet suit. And he's, making Worf is making character level decisions. And they're the right Starfleet character level decisions. But they are terrible leadership. I'm in charge of a large faction decisions. And like that's great framing for this episode of like, yes, you have not been thinking about the other people that have sworn their fealty to your house.
And the best scene in this episode is when he has that conversation with Dax, where he realizes I'm not actually a Klingon anymore the way that I always wanted to be, or maybe even thought I was. And it's like finally the sort of realization hits him in a way that's no longer deniable. All I have is this, as he held to the Delta, right? The part of me that I feel like was Klingon, I can't do the ritual for my brother because I actually agree it's murder, right? Like I'm human. I'm too human to be Klingon anymore. And
you know what I noticed was missing from this episode real quick? As like they're sitting there trying to like, they're commiserating about like how bad it is and how unfair it is. And like, what are we going to do to get our house back in order? And this really sucks for you, Kurn. Like you'll notice through all of that, the one story Worf doesn't touch on like at all about that one time they went to Narnia on a D&D adventure with that Klingon hero. And he found that, God, what was that trinket called?
The Sword of Kahless?
Oh, the Sword of Kahless.
Yeah.
And they held it. And he could have like fixed everything instead he beamed it into fucking space. I'll tell you what, you want something? Here's an adventure for you. Go find that Sword of Kahless, bring glory back to the house. That's my gift to you. I'm sorry I fucked your life up. Good luck. Maybe you die. That'd be a pretty good way to die, right? Kurn is dying trying to get the Sword of Kahless. Like, maybe I don't need to murder you after all. Godspeed. Watch out for the fucking brain shocky fuckface alien. I think he might still be out there. I can't remember if I knifed him in the stomach or we just knocked him out.
I don't know if Dax killed him or not.
We were all a little kooky. By the way, that thing might be made out of crazium.
Just maybe FYI. You might give it to Gowron and then things get real raw. Mm-hmm. Okay, anyway, let's start going through the actual episode. Worf and Jadzia are doing hell cave fighting.
Was that what it was? Because it looked to me like he was doing Return of the Jedi cosplay with that little like black tunic with the gray flap felted forward.
They both are, honestly. This is the episode where they are going to start laying down the very clear guess who's going to be in a relationship soon vibes as it relates to Jadzia and Worf. Fortunately for us, as we have discussed, Terry Farrell seems to have the acting superpower of having chemistry with anybody. So she certainly is managing to have chemistry with Michael Dorn. I definitely... they're selling it, right? It's right from the jump. Worf making comment that Jadzia wore a titty outfit to distract him, and her acting offended and turning around and smiling. Yeah, I did. And it's a nice open because it shows that why is Dax continuing to be involved in Worf's most intimate decisions? Well, now it's clear they're attracted to each other, and we're making part of their courtship. It's not just that Dax is a Klingon expert; it's that they're into each other, and that's no longer in dispute.
Would Dax have been as helpful and lenient through what has happened in this episode if it was a Klingon she did not have a crush on?
Probably not. Maybe to a degree. She would probably advocate, but she wouldn't have covered. She hard covers, right?
Mm-hmm.
She like makes a real point of like jumping in front of the Sisko grenade. Like, I'm going to keep Death Row Sisko at bay by interposing myself, because I know like if I'm here, because we're best friends, like he'll go easier on you.
Sure.
That probably doesn't happen, but you probably would still like explain why this isn't, this is part of their culture, blah, blah, blah. But their flirt fighting is interrupted by Odo calling Worf down to the airlock because there's a drunk Klingon demanding to see him, and sure enough, it's Kurn, who has come specifically to ask Worf to do the Mogh Tavor ritual, which is essentially ritual murder in lieu of suicide, to be able to die with honor and go to Sto-vo-kor. We get we've already kind of talked about the initial conversation they have after the credits in Worf's quarters, where we get here are the consequences of your actions. Our house has been destroyed. Everything has been taken. We went from the height of power to nothing. I had to be personally humiliated in front of the Emperor and have to witness all of this happening. And there's nothing I can do. There's nothing left for me. And you're my brother. You're my older brother. You're in charge of the house. And it's actually your duty to kill me if I ask. This is seppuku, right? Like, I'm a samurai here to my lord. My honor is over. The only way I can regain it is through this ritual suicide process.
Also, our hell is real, as established in Star Trek Voyager.
Correct.
I do not want to go on the barge of the damned. I want Sto-vo-kor, and this is the way in.
And
thank you, Ron Moore, for that piece of religious affirming genre.
Yeah, yes, the Klingon afterlife is in fact real. It is unambiguously actually true. So he obligates Worf through this cultural connection. Like, you have to kill me in this ritualistic fashion because I've asked you, and because that's actually your job as my older brother. The coolest decision they make in this episode is that Worf decides to do it. Because a lot of episodes of Star Trek would be about how is he going to do it or is he not going to do it? Is he going to try to get out of it? Is he going to try to convince him not to do it?
What's the technicality where we can scoot past the rules here?
Correct. No. We're going to start. Act 1 will end with actually Worf almost murdering his brother in this ritual. Like, the knife went in. It is merely by seconds that his life is saved by an emergency beam out to Bashir, because Klingons are notoriously resilient to death, that they're able to save his life. So, like, Worf commits. He does it. He does the thing.
It is attempted murder. The attempt is made. It would have been a murder if it was not for blinking lights in the medbay. Worf murdering his brother under the guise of a Klingon tradition while he is active Starfleet. Like, how many times can we tell this story?
At least twice.
I mean, like, Worf's not fucking stupid. Worf is the rule stickler. And that's what we've just had several Deep Space Nine episodes establish, is like, Odo goes with the vibes and a sense of justice. Worf is like, we will arrest the small fish and ignore the large fish because this is what the rules say, right? Worf's continued willingness to obliviously commit murders. Like, at some point, we just need to come out and say, like, listen, man, if these were humans, this shit would never fly. Like, Klingons are subhumans. Their lives don't. Klingon lives do not matter.
No.
And that is why you've been able to kill probably about a dozen Klingons at this point. Between Duras murders, cave murders, Way of the Warrior, Ops murders. Like, there is a lot of fucking blood on your hands. And because it is Klingon, it just flat out does not matter. Like, I mean, you get it. Like, it was a big deal when he killed Duras, and Picard raked him over the coals and still kind of let it go. And I know that, like, Sisko is permissive and Sisko still gets angry here, but, like, Worf as a character repeatedly willing to kill people. He fundamentally, is this going to continue to happen, or is this the last?
That's actually kind of a good insight on your part. Worf continues to have to deal with the fact that he is a man willing to kill people in an organization and civilization that does not find that acceptable. That is a plot. And it carries on not just in this season, but in the seasons to come, and where his character ultimately winds up at the end of Deep Space Nine as a consequence.
There's killing people like we're being attacked, and I get killing those people. But, like, people wandering into his life and being like, I'm going to create a situation where you are obligated to kill me. Do you feel that this is handled appropriately moving forward in terms of like, how can this guy who lives in space, good guy hero organization be?
Because they show the depth of the decision making. I think this works super well because Worf doesn't want to do this, but he does actually feel obligated to do so because he believes what Kurn believes about his spiritual life, about Stovacor, about what his obligations are as his brother and the head of this house. And the whole point of this episode is him actually figuring out at the end, oh, actually, I made myself do it because I felt like I had to. But if I'm being real, it's murder and I don't want to do it. I don't belong in this anymore. Right. And this goes actually back to an argument I had with people back when the movie Man of Steel came out. I'm sure you remember.
Sure.
Clark kills Zod at the end, snaps his neck to prevent him from committing a murder in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are like, Superman doesn't kill people. How dare you? And I said, how would Superman know that he's horrified by the idea of killing people unless he's done it and had to live with the moral cost of doing so? What makes a man commit himself with so much power to never taking a life unless he had to under dire circumstances, and that changed him? That is so much a better story than, oh, I'm just always going to stay pure forever. It's no, I have touched the darkness. I've seen it's not something I am and don't want to be, and therefore have resolved to change my life in such a way that I never will be again. This story says Worf touches the darkness. He sees what's necessary for him to be the head of a Klingon house. And when he's talking to Dax on loading his soul, he's like, that part of me's gone. It doesn't exist. I'm too human to do this. Even if everything gone back to normal and the House of Mogh was restored and everything was great, I don't belong there anymore because this ritual was murder and I should never have done it. That's a much better story to me than just staying pure.
It's him giving up his fantasy. Yeah. And that's what a lot of Worf's Klingon involvement has felt like, if we are letting all of this breathe, is that I have an idealized fantasy that I am able to adhere to. Every time I touch the real world of Klingon politics and life, it sucks. And that's something we spent a lot of time talking about in Way of the Warrior. And I'm done with the fantasy. I guess if there was a part of these conversations between Worf and Mogh, like, motherfucker, like, I know I have to kill you. If I kill you, I'm going to go to jail for murder. Like, it is wrong. And then him making the, like, you are my brother. I am willing to suffer the consequences for you. We'll do this. It didn't work out.
It reflects that Worf is acknowledging that he's put him in this position. Like, you're right. I did just take everything from you. And if you have to suffer consequences, I should have to suffer consequences.
Yeah.
Because Worf's an honorable man.
Yeah. And, I'm not condemning Ron Moore for not having that in there, but like,
it's
that is a thought process that I am willing to say is canon. Like him accept. I know as a Starfleet officer and a Federation citizen, what I am doing is murder. I have gravely wounded my brother. I am carrying the guilt for how I've destroyed my house. I am accepting the consequences of my actions, and your decision to die is my punishment. And I am willing to face those consequences. That's why I'm not going to Sisko and saying, hey, boss, I've got a dilemma. How can we cheat this? How can I get a hall pass? It's him saying, I'm going to take this thing fully on the chin. And that's, I think, what I needed to make this all work, is that this is a shared consequence. This is both of them suffering in their own ways. Because, Worf, none of this, and that's to Kern's point, none of this has really touched him. He has been soft and comfortable and protected from the consequences of his decisions, unlike everybody else that his decisions has ruined and harmed.
And this is the Ron Moore magic, that you can watch something like this and get this much depth out of it, right? Like, well, if you want, we talk shit about the bad parts of his writing, and we will at the end of this, I'm pretty fucking sure. But this is the good stuff, right? Like, he taps into providing this kind of depth that you can just harvest from the material that he puts out in front on this.
Fan base respect. You and I are sitting here and making shit up right now, thought processes, but I don't think that they are out of place, and I don't think it's anything that is
It's all on
cannot
the
be.
table. It's all on the table. We're just taking what's there and taking and running with it.
I'm a DS9 hater or whatever, but like the deep appreciation I have for Deep Space Nine is when we sit there, it's not you and me with the pen like, how do we pull this fucking thing out of the trash? It's all not reasonable. I think it's expected, and maybe there's a part of the writer's room like, we don't need to have this scene because people can extrapolate this. People can sit there with this under a microscope, come to these conclusions, and they're the right conclusions. It's what we intended. Sorry, we didn't explicitly say it with dialogue, but it was there in the thought process.
Quick B-plot note, because there is one.
Is it?
Well, I guess it's important for two reasons. One, we get more of this Kira O'Brien kind of flirting with each other energy.
It's my favorite pairing, I think. Like,
yeah. These two have fun with each other.
You want to talk about the Trouble Twins?
Like, they're just rolling back into Winnebago, right? Of like from wherever they were, and fucking Kira's laid out, fucking passed out, and O'Brien's like, wakes her up because they're almost home. Like they're like an old married couple. Even asleep for 7 hours, must be the company, and they're all like smiles with each other, like they like each other, man. They're just hanging out, and they stumble bum into essentially what I think is very clear, maybe getting a minefield.
I did not think it was a minefield. I thought that the reveal they were laying mines while cloaked was a great answer. I'd assumed that there was some sort of like shadow conflict going on, or that they were trying to develop a new cloaking technology that was going to allow them to fire weapons while cloaked, and it was not panning out well, and that's why they were seeing.
Oh, okay.
So like that was, I thought, a real good, like, what the fuck are these Klingons up to? Especially in the wake of seeing that the Klingon Empire is a lot deeper than just drunken warriors, and there's like legit espionage divisions, and that their technology is like more advanced than we had been led on to believe. So that was, I thought, I want to call it a B plot, but it ties in so closely to the A plot that
it's the opportunity for Kira and O'Brien to have some part of this episode that otherwise really wouldn't have a role for them.
Thankfully, because something needs to cut this out. Like,
yeah, something
Kern's presentation of how Worf has wounded the entire house and him personally is good, but there's too many of the same speech. Like that's the hard part of the episode for me, is it's Kurn restating the same stuff several times. And I guess that's kind of why, like, I wanted a scene for Worf to be like, everything we just discussed, like, I will suffer for what I have done, but I'm going to suffer by sacrificing my comfortable place in the society by branding myself a murderer. I have done the ultimate dishonorable thing to our house with the discommodation. I will do the ultimate evil in my society by murdering to facilitate you and basically bleed for the house that I have hurt. But instead it's just like Kurn, like, yes, your soft bed, your soft uniform, your soft pillow. And he says that like 3 separate times.
And the third time, like a closing out, right? When he's drunk.
Mm-hmm.
The first 2 times makes a lot of sense because he convinces him to do it. And then the second time, it's important that Worf is clearly not going to do it a second time. And now Kurn is aware of that. And I feel like it's important to establish that moment in when he's in sick bay and in like the chamber and that sort of thing. And he's kind of like calling him out for the fact you're not here to do it. So I know what you're about now. Because it helps draw the line that the episode ultimately arrives at, which is Kurn is a Klingon and Worf isn't, and there's a real difference between the two, right? Like, Kurn is hard in the paint on this stuff. And Tony Todd, by the way, let's compliment him. He plays this character just like he did years prior in TNG. Like, as an actor, I assume he went back and watched that stuff, or he's just that good at being able to like, oh, I know what I did last time. Hold on, right? Because you remember when he like came on to the Enterprise, he was hard in the paint, kind of had this very specific energy with how he played the character, and it's like he didn't miss a beat. He was right
him
back
threatening Riker. Let's talk about this guy who was just on screen as old Jake Sisko in a very soft, vulnerable
position. Yeah,
hunched over shell of a man who just wanted to see his dad again. Right?
Yeah.
And now you've got this broken glass in a Walmart plastic bag that is just completely wildly different. So great range of acting for this. But we talk about who represents the Vulcans, who set the tone for the Vulcan. Yeah, Leonard Nimoy, sure, but the actor who plays Sarek really is like this other tentpole. Like,
yeah, Mark Leonard.
Spock is half human, half Vulcan. He's not a pure Vulcan experience, and it isn't until you get to Tim Russ who gives us like the next, like, this is the pure definitive Vulcan experience leading into what we were going to get out of T'Pol. Spock, yeah, was a Vulcan, but he was still half human. That's what made him interesting. That wasn't like the textbook Vulcan. Worf humanized Klingons, but Worf he's an idealized Klingon, and because he's this idealized Klingon, we see the real Klingons are not anywhere near this honorable, perfect, clean, nice tooth guy.
Yeah.
Kurn and Gowron, and really I think just Kurn at this point is like, what is a real Klingon? What is a flawed Klingon? What is I am a Klingon day in, day out, 24/7. And not a bad guy Klingon, but a good guy Klingon.
Yeah.
And that is, I think Kern's really a central figure at this point in the Kling-ron Bible of, if you have to go back, if you're going to be a Klingon on Deep Space Nine and you need to understand as a guest actor how to portray this, I think this guy is the most concentrated form of that.
Of the current era, right? Like, because we've gotten different versions of the Klingon experience that I think we've appreciated what they represent, like the old trio, and most specifically because Kor has been around a couple times, that represent like the TOS era, that are more Shakespearean, more elevated, more refined and educated, and they're on the way out. What does the current day Klingon look like? It probably
Kling-ron.
does. Yeah, it looks.
I'm not
like
saying
Kurn.
that jokingly. Like, this is the Ronald Moore, I love Klingons, I'm going to make Klingons rad. And here's this guy. He's competent. He is honorable. He is ruthless. He is he adheres to the traditions to a personal fault. And he gets shit done. Like, this is a competent fucking dude.
As Klingons go, he has all of the virtues, but it shows how incompatible even Worf is with that. Where Worf has human compassion. Worf has human morality. And it is natural that he does, because not only was he raised by humans, he was a bridge officer on the ship that typified the very apex of those traits, where his boss was the guy who was the perfect leader, who embodied the right mix of those things that he learned from. So he's never going to be a good Klingon because he's too much Picard in him.
Let's talk about that and how we've exemplified Worf as the embodiment of the Klingon ideal that no other Klingon can get near, because he does not have to grow up in Klingon culture, which is, as we've said before, like politically corrupt, and that's what's holding the fallen empire of the Klingons back, is thorough political corruption, right? It's easy to take your hero, Worf, and compare him to all these shitbag Klingons and be like, this is the idealized form of Klingon society versus the real society. And look how incompatible it is. Look how much better Worf looks, because they're always comparing him to some sort of a villain. And everything we've just said, let's compare Worf to a good guy, Klingon. And now let's look at this incompatibility. And that's an important part of this episode now, in Worf saying, no, I'm tapping out. Like, my brother, I can't fault my brother in anything.
Right.
And I can't see eye to eye with him on this stuff. And now I'm being forced to, I have touched the fantasy, and it's not good guy versus bad guy. It's me trying to touch my own brother and being like, and still recoiling.
Yes. And it's painful for him. They did this in Way of the Warrior too. And they shoot close in this episode, which is, I think, a good chance for like someone like Michael Dorn to show his acting chops as usual. He is mourning that he touches and he recoils. he's doing it in his own ways. Like the ability to know when someone commits to the kill is part of being a Klingon, and it's not part of me. It's that is a complicated, very Worf way of saying, I choose to see the best part of people. I choose to be compassionate. I choose to find solutions to problems that are not violence. Because
Picard.
I'm a fucking Starfleet officer who learned from Jean-Luc Picard.
I am a disciple of Picard. And you look at how Worf was early season while Tasha Yar was still alive.
He's like, fucking kill him, right? he's just kill him all.
Where Worf ends up by the end of Nemesis. No. First Con. No, it would be Generations. Yeah, like that is real value that you've just shown me here. And like this is Paradise Lost again. This is somebody's perfect place being utterly destroyed. He lost the Enterprise. He lost the fantasy of being Klingon ideals, wearing a Starfleet uniform, and I am the exception to the rule. And I can be
heroes of the old sagas, as he told O'Brien.
I'm a paragon of all things, to having to admit, like, man, fuck it. Again, I'm walking away from this fantasy. I do not want this. And now that I have lost the fantasy of being the idealized Klingon paragon, all I have left is Starfleet and my humanity. And is that going to be enough for me moving forward? So
it's an unanswered question. Very, very cleverly there at the end, it's not a firm yes it is. He just says it's going to have to be. And and there's like a beat where it's like kind of open of like, is that true or not? But rather than contemplate it further, he has to step into the next question, which is Kurn doesn't even have that. And what do we do? Very briefly, the rest of the plot, which I don't think we need to labor over because we've already been at it for 52 minutes in terms of the A plot. Kurn lives. Sisko gives a dressing down to Worf. That's kind of the Sisko version of what Picard said to him when he killed Duras. Dax jumps in front of the grenade to try and make the problem go away. And at first, Worf attempts
real quick, as far as Sisko goes, like, you brought this guy out there for a reason. Picard letting it slide was one thing. Sisko, who has already condoned murder by many of his officers, also too, I am in the thick of it with the fucking Klingons. Like this, I brought this guy out here. I need him,
right?
Specifically for I'm okay with murder every now and then, but B, like, he's here for a reason. Like, him letting all this slide, well within tolerance.
And also they have a good demonstration as to why it's important for him to be there in this episode, right? Like they don't leave that question to be asked for long. And they start by having Worf go to Odo to say, will you take my brother on as a security deputy to give him a job? I like Odo being shitty and being like, you owe me for this.
I wanted Worf to be like, what did you just say to me? How about you are repaying the favor to me when I caught the guy trying to kill the fucking president of Bajor because your feelings were hurt?
That should have been what was said, yes. I completely agree.
It slipped my mind to tell my brother I found the fucking sword of Kalis and beamed it into space, but I'm going to remember here right now, I already did you a solid favor and I didn't rub your nose and shit, so shove this up. Go ahead, morph an asshole, and then shove all this right up your freshly minted asshole. Putty boy, come at me with fucking favors. I'm cashing in boons I owe over you, motherfucker.
Yes. Worf should have been cashing in the major that he had. This is not a situation where you should be owing. Completely agree. Total failure. Ron Moore, you're a terrible writer. Anyway.
Yes. Putting a Klingon in a Bajoran uniform, dick move. I think this is minus Worf, who frequently wears pure fabric. God.
Not good. Kurn tries to basically commit suicide by criminal and getting shot by some a smuggler that he caught, and Odo calls him out and be like, he could have fucking stopped him, and he didn't. The only reason he's not dead is the guy's hand was shaking so much when he got shot by the disruptor. It didn't have anything vital.
Here's the other scene I need is Worf going to Kurn and be like, listen, bro, trust me. I'm telling you as your brother, I'm telling you as a Starfleet officer. I was on the Enterprise. We ran into a problem about once every 2 weeks, once per pay period. It's worse here. there will be a time where there is an alpha level threat that is going to destroy everything, and it's going to be the dopest fucking most honorable death for that episode.
Just
You
stick
don't
it out.
swing at the good ones, all right? It doesn't need to be Captain Shlomo over there. Like,
we've got wormhole gods. We've got the Dominion.
Skin, the Dominion, man. Like, there's gonna be some fucking dope ass fights, dude. Just chill. If you want the honorable death, it's coming. It's gonna be wild too. Like, hold on, let me get my my log out here real quick. We're gonna go to a random page.
You could die fighting some Jem'Hadar, motherfucker. Come on.
You could go back in time to Earth. You could die fighting Benito Mussolini or something. Like, Genghis Khan. You could die by Genghis Khan. That's a good one. Like, there's great ways to die, man. Just swing at the good ones. Wait for the good ones, all right?
So, that fails. So once again, Bashir saves his life. There's a bit of a getting real tired.
Just
Dr.
real
Bashir
quick,
preventing me from dying.
Do not die on the warp core fatality level. Like that one.
No,
that's a hell death. Yeah. That's not the good one.
Avoid that one.
You don't want to be dragged forward and have to rely on Alexander saving you in the future. Maybe that's.
Meanwhile, the Trouble Twins, Kira and O'Brien, are trying to figure out the current problem they have. They're told not to bring Worf. There's a moment where O'Brien tries to defend Worf, and Sisko's like, "No, I'm not taking another one of my officers defending him. You're in a different part of this episode.
You ain't got the pips for this one, boy."
So the Trouble Twins go off and start investigating further what's going on in the Defiant. With these cloaked ships right outside the
Defiant with its advanced sensor capabilities, right? The Defiant, the science vessel, the Defiant.
The Defiant. And they happen across a Borcha-class cruiser that hits one of the mines, is in dire need of assistance, and actually accepts being towed to Deep Space Nine so they can get medical assistance, which honestly, like, they probably wouldn't have done that if we're being real. Like, if you're like, we're clandestinely setting up a bunch of mines, are you going to like allow yourself to be towed to the third party?
Ship porn. Vorcha class. We talked about this. This was a joint Federation design. This is capital ships. It's basically a Galaxy class. I absolutely believe that they are not birds of prey full of bustards, that they're just trying to get hillbillies out into space to die so they're not dealing with civil wars. Sure. This is real people. This is a real ship. I think they have the operational security that they're not worried about people finding out about the mines, that everybody can keep their fucking mouth shut. And they are not willing to lose these assets on the looming war with not only the Federation, potentially the Dominion. They're already at it with the Cardassians. Like, absolutely makes sense to me that they would not sacrifice this thing.
So they tow it in, and it presents them with an opportunity to figure out what happened and what's going on. They have the meeting in the wardroom where they arrive at the conclusion that it is in fact a minefield. I think it's actually Worf that says it's mines, and O'Brien kind of backs up that conclusion, and that's where Worf comes up with the plan. Hey, if Bashir hits us with some special juice, we can fake our DNA so that we don't appear to be the Klingons we are to sensors, but Klingons that belong on the ship. We can beam on and basically steal the information about the minefield, because clearly that ship has to have known where all the mines are because they're laying them. And once we have that, we can detonate them, because that's how they work. They get armed via a subspace frequency. And he enlists Kurn to do this. And really, this scene exists so that we can establish that Bashir has the ability to kind of alter Klingon DNA and appearance, and also have that moment where Worf tries to defuse a situation with somebody and was going to get murdered for his trouble, and it is Kurn that has to step in and stop it, because Kurn is still a real Klingon and Worf isn't. They succeed with the theft. They bring it back. The Trouble Twins go off in the Defiant and blow up all the mines. Have a good old time. Right? Like, but that plot resolves, right? Like, nothing else to it. And Kurn is even further into his feelings at this point, because now he's like killed a Klingon who was doing his duty. His dishonor is even worse than it was before. He feels like he's now not just dishonorable, but he's betrayed his people. And that's where we finally get that scene we've already talked about between Worf and Jadzia, where Worf not only figures out I don't belong with the Klingon Empire anymore, I don't really have a good solution to the current problem. And here is where Ron Moore's worst trait makes an appearance. They have done nothing to set up a resolution to this plot 40 minutes in. Nothing, right? There's no MacGuffin on the table. There's no like lead up to an idea of how it is we're going to resolve this problem in a way
My expectation going into this was that there was going to be something with the Klingon Empire here that we were going to be able to use Kurn as a diplomatic piece, or him save the day in this and reintegrate him into the Empire, or give him a purpose.
Or save the day and die in the process, which is what he already tried to do once, which would have,
I didn't think he was going to die. But we got through the minefield, and I'm like, the fuck are we going to do with this guy? And apparently Ron Moore was like, what the fuck am I going to do with this guy?
Right. And so it's just they have a great moment where Kurn is laying out the truth to Worf full drunk while pointing a disruptor at his head, kind of like, I don't want to kill myself because I don't want to go on the barge of the dead, but I really wish I could. And he says, it's a tragedy. We weren't raised together. We should have been raised together, and like, Worf, you're not a Klingon, but you're honorable. It's essentially what he's telling him. And it's a shame, like, we weren't brothers the way we should have been. And Worf agrees. And it's a way for them to like close their relationship out, essentially, to say our brotherhood is ending because we're, what we're going to choose to do to resolve this plot. And it's good and it's emotional. And there's no connective tissue. There's nothing. It's just he's on the table in fucking Bashir's House of Horrors. and it's already like, I'm going to wipe his memory engrams and basically turn him into a total amnesiac. And then I'm going to alter his DNA and appearance. And you're going to have called like an old family friend, and he's going to fake him being his son for you. And we're not going to explain any of this, set any of this up, or really provide any context to any of these decisions that apparently have been made and everyone has agreed to. Nothing.
Two things.
This is practically a Deus Ex Machina. Like, this is crazy.
One, if you take all of the sick bays for all of the Star Trek properties, and you look at all of the things that have transpired in these sick bays, Julian Bashir's sick bay is absolutely winning the most. I don't know what the yearbook award is here, but like the most likely to be renamed the Joseph Mengele fucking medical facility.
The Joseph Mengele Memorial Medical Facility.
This dude has cloned murderers.
Yes. On accident.
The Frankenstein shit he did to Vedic Bareil.
Yes.
All the times Miles O'Brien has died in here.
Multiple times in one episode.
This fucking whatever chop shop face off. And that's what happens to him essentially. He's get face offed, right?
Quark got kablamo gunned and had to be saved in here. Jadzia had her
the illegal fucking Trill kidnapping and forced, like, there has been some real war crimes. The fucking guy, the worst terrorist ever with his I can insert myself under. They need to burn this place and build a new like actual start on top of whatever like legit Joseph Mengele science experiments the Cardassians were probably doing in there. Yeah, him getting brain shock. Like, this is
it's probably haunted.
Oh, it is for sure fucking haunted. Do not turn the lights off in this medical facility. So there's that. The medical facility is what the Defiant Warp Core aspires to be.
I like that.
Two, if Worf has an RPG character sheet, there's absolutely a feat or some sort of special ability he has that is an old family friend. And the number of times he has been able to go to this special ability and summon a plot MacGuffin to fix the fucking problem. Here, this is how we're getting rid of Kurn. Way of the Warrior, he's able to summon an old family friend to give him the plot information on what are the Klingons doing. Oh, they're prepping to go to war with Cardassia. TNG, he tapped the buttons a few times to, like, you know, an old family friend that has fucking blackmail on Kempek and knows the truth about the Kittimer massacre. That is the true House of Mogh. It's just a bunch of old Klingons.
It's got like Mentor 4 and he's just burning the points off bit by bit.
Allies and mentorship. Just whenever you need somebody to just show up and take your bag of dog shit off screen, I know a guy. Give me a minute. Not only do I know a guy, but I can get him here within fucking 2 turns to save the day. The last 5 minutes of the episode, I'll have someone here to whisk this fucking dude off.
So, the episode kind of just ends with Kurn having been memory wiped by mad scientist Bashir and this old family friend showing up and saying, "Don't worry, son, I'll teach you everything you need to know for being a Klingon again. Come with me." And, you know, we have the poignant moments of, "Are you part of my family? I don't have any family." That's not true. You have a son, Worf. Come on. And I know that's not the point. The point of the episode was kind of like have that little line at the end, but not true.
Yeah. Kurn, you're looking for something to do. Can you go to Earth and like raise my son? Could that be honorable for you guys? Yeah, please.
Raise your nephew. Yeah. But great episode for 90% of it. I love everything having to do with Kurn essentially representing Worf maturing out of his Klingon fantasy, representing very real consequences of his actions, being the good guy Klingon that Worf even recoils at, the use of the suicide ritual as a way for him to cotton to the fact he has human morality. Love all of that. And then, yeah, the most Ron Moore, the Ron Rod at the end is just chef's kiss in being ridiculous. So 5 stars, you know, like this is this is the Ron Moore experiences through and through for good and for bad. I enjoyed watching this more now because of our recent watch through of all of those TNG episodes. So I think that helped my viewing experience tremendously. Otherwise, it does feel like a bit of a non sequitur, I'm sure.
I did not enjoy watching it. It was too emo and mopey for me. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation that came as a result of it. And in light of this as a Worf character growth episode and all of the discussion we just had, this is very important. This is monumental, really.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll see where he goes from here. But for a character episode, again, Dax, very interesting when she is assisting other people's episodes. Identifying Kurn as a real poster child of how to play a Klingon and what the Klingons, what good guy Klingons should look like. Again, Julian Bashir and his absolute complacency in what has to be a crime, right?
It's a criminal act, isn't it?
Did they hide this from Sisko? Like, okay, hey, I got busted telling this guy, can I get away with what do you even call this? It's not identity.
Also, like the idea that he can mind wipe people, like neuralize people like that. That's like some post-mortem revival level medical nonsense.
Listen, I believe nowhere. Destroying memories, implanting memories, hard wiping memories out. Sure.
Is this Inception? You Leonardo DiCaprio now?
If somebody can do it, our man Bashir can do it. All right. This.
What are we watching next week, Peter?
We're going to be going into Bar Association. This is season 4, episode 16. This is a story by Barbara Lee and Jennifer Lee. Wow, when's the last time? When have you ever seen a double lady writing team? Teleplay by Ira Stephen Bear and Robert Hewitt Wolf. LeVar Burton's doing this one. Quark's employees, led by Rom, form a union against Quark's unfair labor practices and promptly go on strike.
This is a good Ferengi nonsense episode, in my opinion.
How could it not be?
Very good. In fact, we're in our element with this one. We got Lita in the back, like joining the union protest.
And this is gonna post scarcity Federation utopia capital like this. I can see this for a joke episode, and I can see where a lot of modern Trek opinion is going to come from.
It manages a good balance here of telling the story within the confines of the universe without commenting too much on the real world parallel, right? Like that's when Trek is good, is it takes pieces of real world stuff and it translates it through its lens into a story without feeling like it's like being too preachy. And this is a perfect way to do it. So thank you for listening to V'ger Please. If you enjoy the show, you should join us on our Discord. To join said Discord, you need only email me at v'gerplease@gmail.com or reach out to me on Twitter. I'm Intern of Doom, so you can reach me there at Intern of Doom on Twitter.
We're still on Facebook.
Still on Facebook. And our comments section on YouTube is quite lively. So if you like that, you can pop in there and give it a like and join the folks that are speaking about our episodes there. We greatly enjoy reading those, by the way. So,
and if you are out there on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, and you can take the 5 minutes to figure out how to do a rating on something,
always appreciate it. Always appreciate it. Absolutely. Well, shares, likes, and ratings on podcast platforms are extraordinarily wanted whenever you get the chance. Thanks so much. See you next week.